Y muy buenos días a todos. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas y buenos días. Espero que ustedes estén bien. I hope you guys are well. I sadly, for some really ridiculous weather-related reason, decided to try to get 5 of my windows washed because I cannot stand the spider webs anymore. And I got out and wow, cinco ventanas. Got 5 done. So yeah. Half the house is pretty good for a morning's work, and then I come to work. Ok, vamos a empezar, vamos a practicar mucho con esos pronombres. We're going to work a lot with these pronouns, and of course we're going to be using the pronouns with the verbs and all that kind of normal word order. But I want to quiero empezar con algo de Hillary. Gracias, Hillary. Thank you so much for sending this question. Y vamos a ver, we're going to see this because it talks about se trata de, it's about, se trata de el uso de pronombres. Here's a question from Duolingo, and if you ever want to screenshot something from Duolingo, because like, what? Why did I get this? Why did I get this response? This is a great thing to do. And she sent me this thing. The idea was, we love this party, which is something people, you may absolutely say in a normal conversational, thing, exchange with people. We love this party, but we cannot say, nos encanta esta fiesta. It's got to be, a nosotros nos encanta esta fiesta. Y la pregunta es, ¿por qué? The question is, well, why does it have to be that thing in red down there? A nosotros nos encanta esta fiesta. So the short answer is, I don't think, no, will not let me highlight it. With a lot of these little pronouns, a lot of times you're going to hear or see, if it's written, an extra phrase with a, and it'll be a, and it will name a person, a human being. And it may be another pronoun like a nosotros, or it may be, okay, like in this situation, a nosotros nos encanta esta fiesta, a mi esposo y yo, no, pues, momento. A mi esposo y a mí, a mi esposo y a mí, nos encanta esta fiesta. That little a phrase just stands to clarify who we mean by that word nos. It is essentially, yes, a redundant phrase. So the absolute core of what you need for that sentence to be grammatically correct and to be easily understood instantly is only nos encanta esta fiesta. Nos encanta esta fiesta. That's the bare minimum that you need to be understood. But somebody might rephrase it as, a nosotros nos encanta esta fiesta. A nosotros nos encanta. The a nosotros is what they call an emphatic. It just is giving more emphasis to that idea of nos encanta. Okay, it's delightful to us. And the way we do this in the English language is to say, oh, we love this party. And we do inflection of the voice. Oh, we love this party. Instead of, oh, we love this party. We love this party. With our voice, we go up and down. It's, it's the fluctuation of the voice. And the way they do that in Spanish is just to tag on that little phrase in the beginning, a nosotros. Okay. But the bare minimum that you need to be understood is nos encanta esta fiesta. And with that alone, it's both grammatically correct and totally understandable.
Okay.
Okay, the a nosotros in this case is just an intensifier, essentially, that we would do with pitch in our voice. They don't use pitch all the time for that. They might, but they're likely to do that. This little example of nos encanta esta fiesta is a little bit different than the other things we're going to use today, in the sense that it's one of those verbs. Encantar is one of those verbs that's like gustar. It's used like gustar, and that means the only way you're really likely to hear this is either encanta or encantan, if the thing that is loved liked intensely is plural. Okay, so encantar, you're highly unlikely to hear it in a tú form, not in a yo form, not in a nosotros form. Okay, so this verb is a little bit different, and we may go back to this because sadly these kinds of verbs are extremely popular for people to use conversationally. And I think that's something that probably is worth revisiting. But I hope that answers your question, Hillary.
Yep.
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Sometimes
seemed very long to say we love the party. I mean,
it is very
huge
long.
sentence,
And if you say nos encanta, it's obvious who loves it. We do. It's obvious. Why do I have to stick? Well, the answer is you don't have to stick the a nosotros on. You don't have to. You don't have to stick on the a nosotros nos encanta. But people very much do it just to give a little more punch.
Yeah.
To what they're saying. Yeah, that's all.
Mhm.
And these little phrases, they are redundant. People often say, well, then why do I use the nos if I have an phrase? You can't drop the nos. The nos has to be there for you to be understood really clearly. So somebody doesn't have to kind of pause and then think for a heartbeat of what did they really mean. The phrases are common to clarify. And in this case, it's not clarification because it's clear what the nos is, but rather emphasis to give more punch to it. Okay. Buena pregunta. Good question. Okay. We're going to hit on all things pronoun. Aren't pronouns like one of the worst? Pronouns and prepositions, like those little little words like en, de, con, they're the worst. They're really hard. We have to think about what word is right. We've got to think about where does it go, because the order of the words is not always what it will be in English. So it's a mental gymnastics thing to learn to use it. So we're going to start, and we're mainly working with indirect object pronouns today. So that means if you can translate the idea to I'm saying this to him, I'm telling this to him. If it's to somebody or for somebody, it's what we call an indirect object. And in English, I guarantee you never ever think about, I need to use an indirect object. No, you don't. Not in English. You never think about that. So again, it's mental gymnastics. But the little words we're going to need to use are going to be, I'm going to put these in and then share my screen. Metenos, and then le or les. So let's get the share screen out, and we're going to take a look at these little things before we go to our pictures today. Okay. This is the tail end of one of those little slide sets here. And the words that really are in question are these little things here. And actually, if I were in Spain, I would also use this. I would need this too. So anytime we've got a video, if it's a Spaniard, they're going to throw in os, because whenever they say you guys in a friendly way, that means it's got to be a pronoun that's plural for the te. So you'll hear os only from Spaniards. You'll never hear it from Latin Americans. So we're not going to practice that today. But when you hear somebody using os, That's what it is. It's the plural of te. Okay, so me, te, nos, le, and les. Me, to me or for me. Te, to you or for you. Nos, to us or for us. Us, the you guys thing only for Spaniards, so we're going to leave that out today. Le, ooh, to him or to her or to you if the you is usted, formal, right? And then les, to them. Okay, so when we're talking about a group of people receiving the action, or the you guys form, les works for that as well. So we're going to use those, and we're going to see if we can plug in these ideas here. I'm going to give them a good tip. I'm going to, ooh, guy, I don't want to make that too small. You know, I'm going to have to say funky things to me. Okay. A ver. Okay. Come up with a way to fix this, perhaps. I'm just making it worse. Because once I make something bigger, I got to be really precise in how I grab these. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's take this in here and paste it in. Yay. Okay. Now it's legally blind size. Here we go. I'm going to give them a good tip. And we need to use dar. Dar is for this word give, right? So I need to use dar. Here are the mental gymnastics. I need to use dar to talk about the I'm going to do it. I have to put it in a form that is a yo form because I am the one doing the action. So let's take a look at what do I need to do with just that part. I'm going to give. Ooh.
Voy a dar.
Voy a dar. Okay. Bye. Voy a dar. Voy a dar. There's your little kernel of information because the verb always tells the story of who's doing it and when they're doing it. And now we're saying it's not happening right now, but it's going to happen kind of soon, right? So in order to say I'm going to, I need the voy a dar. So I'm going to give them.
Les voy a dar.
We need a les. We need a
voy a
les.
dar.
There are two ways I can set this up. Sí, les voy a dar. Les voy a dar. Les voy a dar. Les voy a dar. Okay. Now, because it's a two verb combo, I get a choice. Normalmente les voy a dar. This may be a little more common, but really there are two ways you can do it. And people may say whichever way they feel like. Because I have two verbs, I can tag it on to that second verb, which is an infinitive. And now I have to stick it right on the end. It can also be expressed as voy a darles.
Darles.
Now, that voy a darles is closer to what you are used to saying in English in terms of word order. So this is when I was first learning it, it was way more comfortable for me to say in my graded answers and speaking, voy a darles. And I could always get away with, well, that's correct. It was closer to the way my brain would put it in order because that's what we do in English. I'm going to give them. So that helps.
Mary, can you do that with both? I mean, with any verb, the both ways?
Only if I've got two
The
verbs
infinitive.
working together, one conjugated, one is the infinitive.
Oh,
Well, okay. That's not quite true. There are other situations where you can tag it on. You can tag it on if you've got an ando. And I'll give you an example of that at some point too. But the more I started talking to honest to goodness native speakers, the more I started hearing this order, les voy a dar, and the more I heard those examples, the more that started to imprint on my brain of, oh, well, this is the order I hear a lot of people saying. And it no longer bothered me then, les voy a dar, right? Instead of voy a darles. voy a darles is close to my English word order. So it was a nice crutch for me, but I can only do that when I got the two verbs together. And I won't be able to do that if I have just one conjugated verb, right? So, okay, I'm going to give them a good tip. Les voy a dar una buena
Can't say that.
propina. Sí, propina. Propina es tip. Yeah, the money you leave behind, right, for good service. Le voy a dar una buena propina. Okay, so let's take this a little step further and let's say it's out of context. And let's say you don't know from previous part of the conversation who we mean by les. So let's tag on an a phrase like the a nosotros nos gusta, like that.
A las camareras les
Bien,
voy a dar buena propina.
bien, sí. A las camareras, waitresses. A las camareras les voy a dar una buena propina. Exacto. A
And
las
can that-
camareras.
Can that a las camareras phrase be put either in front like that or after
Yeah.
dar, after dar?
See.
Sí. Hay flexibilidad. You got a little bit of flexibility here. Les voy a dar a las camareras una buena
Okay.
propina. You've got some flexibility on where you can stick that little a phrase.
Okay.
It could come up front. It could come later. Está bien. It's good.
Yeah, good.
So you've got a little bit of flexibility here. So here is how, and yes, it is redundant, but if it is not clear from the rest of the conversation, you will hear people using this, even though it is redundant. Les voy a dar a las camareras una buena propina. So here's
If you have the a las camareras, do you need the lace?
there is a question I was exactly going to talk about. Hey, can I do this? Well, shouldn't that be obvious to any person listening to you? Well, but the sad answer is they don't like that. Yeah, to be honest with you, it is frowned upon. It is
Okay.
something that messes a little bit with their brains, the person, your listeners' brains. It is, you will very seldom, like almost never, hear somebody leaving off that word les. So in other words, it's a bigger sin to leave off the word les. It's a bigger faux pas. It's a bigger misstep. It's a bigger, kind of reaction you'll get if you leave off the les. Les is expected.
Can you put the dar les a las camareras, or when you move the a las camareras where it is, does the les have to stay up front?
No, this can be, no. Whether you put it in front of the conjugated verb or tag it onto darles makes no difference with that a phrase. No. Buena pregunta. Good question. So, no biggie. Yeah? Bien? Okay.
Does everything apply to acaban as well? Or acabar, I mean, what we're doing with voy?
Oh, with acabar?
If we wanted to say we just did, give them a tip, does it
Okay.
apply as well?
So let's say, instead of saying we're going to, hey, we just gave them a good tip. Yeah. We just tipped
Yes.
them. Yeah. Hey, don't leave money behind because I just did that. Yeah, that's why you say that, right? We say that because what you mean is, hey, I just did it. It will be the same. Okay. Les acabo de dar una buena propina.
Okay.
Acabo de darles. Igual. Same thing. Equivalente. Same thing. Buena pregunta. Good question. Yes, anytime I use a two verb combo, conjugated plus infinitive, conjugated plus infinitive, this is when that happens. If I just change it to I'm giving them, then I've only got one verb, and then there's only one place for that word les to go, and it's got to be in front of the verb, in front of the verb, in front of the verb. And now this is where it will not look like, or it will not sound like English word order. Les doy una buena propiedad. Por ejemplo, for example, oh, I always tip them. They're so nice, those waitresses. I always tip them. Siempre les doy una propina. Siempre les doy una propina. But I can never say siempre, I have to think hard. Siempre doy les. I can't say doy les. I can't take the les on to a conjugated verb. It's gotta be in front. It's gotta be in front. Okay. To them I give. And the only way that I personally was able to remember to do that was I would purposely think in my brain, to them I give, to them I give, to her I give, to him I give. I literally forced myself to think that way. And that's how I got used to doing it, but it may be different for you. It may be writing them out in sentences. I don't know. No sé. Okay, yeah?
Mhm.
Good so far? Okay.
Yeah.
Vale. Bueno, let's check out the next one. I want to buy her a gift. And we need comprar, right?
Mhm.
And we're going to be a little more specific with who we mean by the her phrase. Okay. Entonces, vamos a practicar con esto. I want to buy her a gift. Who is the her? Okay. So, ooh, do I have one verb or do I have a two verb combo?
Two.
Oh,
Two.
sí, exacto. I want to. So this is
Yeah.
like Charlie's question on the acabar de. It's the same principle. One verb plus a second verb. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice I want to buy?
Quiero,
Quiero.
Quiero.
Quiero comprar.
Quiero comprar.
comprarle,
I
Le.
want, quiero comprarle.
Le.
I can do that. Quiero comprarle.
Mhm.
O,
Un regalo.
o le
Oh, quiero.
quiero comprar.
Mhm.
¿Sí?
Mhm.
Un regalo.
Mhm.
Un regalo, a gift. Un regalo. Bien. Uy, un momentito. Ok, vale.
How
Bueno.
about Maryland, le quiero comprar?
Uy, uy, ok, bien.
Mhm.
Quiero comprarle a Marilyn, ¿sí? Un regalo, ¿sí? And I could even put it at the end of this. Hay flexibilidad. Le quiero comprar un regalo a Marilyn. We can even do that, okay? Bien. And this le quiero comprar is really, really frequent. Anytime somebody talks about they want to buy something for somebody in their family, it's somebody's anniversary, it's somebody's birthday, you know, lo que sea. Un cumpleaños, un aniversario, no importa, ¿sí? Quiero comprarle o le quiero comprar. And we can name the person. Okay, we can put in mi nieta, my granddaughter. Well, sure. Mi hija, my daughter. We can put in any human being to represent that her. Okay, but it is not okay, even with the mi nieta, it is not okay to drop that le. It is not really okay. And I should phrase that more as people just don't leave off the word le. They always have the word le. They may skip that mi nieta phrase. They may very well skip that if they think it's obvious, but they will not skip that word le. They will not skip this word le. It will be there. Okay? Bien?
Yes.
Vale, bueno. Otra vez. A ver, bueno. El tercer ejemplo. Voy a copiar, voy a mirar otra pantalla ahí, otra pantalla. I am asking you guys for a favor, and we don't use the word for in this because that word idea of for is built into that verb pedir.
Les pido un favor.
Otra vez.
Les pido un favor.
Sí, les pido un favor. ¡Boom! Eso es todo. Les pido un favor. Les pido un favor. That's really all you need to express that idea, right? So the mental gymnastics is more with the, oh, I've got to have a les in front. That's got to come up front. So in other words, really, to the Hispanics mind, to the Spanish-speaking mind, whoever is destined for that action, whoever is going to receive that action is what they're thinking about first when they're talking to you. They're thinking about who's going to get something when they do their talking. And that is what comes out of their mouth first. That is the order of thinking. It's a different way of structuring our thought. Yeah. Les pido un favor. We don't need a para, oui, no, or a por, no for word, just les pido un favor. We are going to tweak this a little bit. First way we're going to tweak it. Let's define who we, what if we want to make clear it's you guys instead of them?
Ustedes? A ustedes?
A ustedes. A ustedes. Les pido un favor a ustedes. Les pido a ustedes un favor. Así, okay? But I don't have a choice of saying pidoles. I don't have that choice. Hillary, see.
Yeah, I have a question. So in English, you have the present progressive. I'm asking you. So, but you are there, you just have the present, simple present. So how do you know?
How do I know?
Or are they interchangeable in Spanish?
Are they interchangeable? Not necessarily. Here's why not. And what she's talking about, if you forgot your grammar ease instead of legal ease, but grammar ease, present progressive means it's this idea of am asking, or she is asking, or they are asking. It's the idea of using am, is, are with an ing verb. And this is the other example I said we were going to talk about, which is still kind of a two-verb thing. This is what is called present progressive. Can I say present progressive like estoy, les estoy pidiendo? And that's kind of an odd form, even though it comes from pedir, it's got to be pidiendo. Les estoy pidiendo un favor. Can I say it this way with an I am and an ing kind of verb, okay? A gerund, and that's called present progressive. I am asking, literally. Is it interchangeable with this? It is only interchangeable with this if we really are doing it in real time while we're talking. Present progressive is reserved in Spanish for speaking about things as they are happening in real time. It's just what they do. English does not do that. I am going to call somebody today and I'm going to ask for a quote. I'm going to ask for a price information. And I might very easily in a conversation to you, I might say, well, you know, today I am calling people to get prices. We have to have work done. I'm calling to ask for prices. I'm calling people, but I'm not doing that right now. I'm telling you that I'm calling people to get prices kind of implies I'll be doing it down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in 10 minutes, maybe in an hour, maybe in 2 hours. And if it isn't happening right now, that takes us out of the possibilities. Okay, then I have to use just plain old present tense, really, or future. I could use a future too. But for me to say estoy pidiendo, it means, wow, you know, I am in the process of, hey, yeah, I'll talk with you, but I'm doing this right now. Yeah, it's got to be real time to use that. If I did that, though, if that was what I was talking about, les estoy pidiendo un favor, because it's a two-verb combo, again, it's not infinitive, but it is still a two-verb combo. I do have an option of saying estoy pidiéndoles un favor. I can tag that les on there. So in other words, I can tag on the me, te, nos, or le when I've got an infinitive and when I've got a gerund, meaning an ando, yendo, and ing type verb. Okay, and that always means I've got two verbs working together. I can do that in those two instances. Bien?
Bien.
Okay. Bien. It is kind of mental gymnastics. Yeah, sí, así es. Yes, it is. Así es. Pero. Ok, vamos a ver. El cuarto ejemplo, the fourth example. How much do I owe you? And deber. Ooh, who owes?
I do.
I
I
do. So
I
who do
do.
I conjugate deber
They
for?
both. They both.
Debo.
Able.
Debo. Okay, so the verb we need to use is debo. Debo. And oh, but you know what? We're asking a question. All right. Formal you. You're in a store. Formal you. I owe you.
Debo?
Le debo.
They both. Yeah.
And you probably won't use the usted. You probably won't because you're looking at them in the eye. You're looking them in the eye. They know the le means you because you're looking at them.
Right.
Yeah. And now we need to start off with how much. Cuánto.
Cuánto le debo.
Cuánto.
They debo.
Cuánto le debo. Cuánto le debo es algo muy común. ¿Cuánto le debo? How much do I owe you, right? You're getting ready to pay. ¿Cuánto le debo? Somebody's packing everything in a bag for you. And y cuánto le debo? How much do I owe you, right? If it were somebody, a real young kid at the cash register, you might flip it to an informal cuánto te debo, right? Or if it's somebody you interact with a lot, all right? I know some people who like do an Airbnb around like Puerto Peñasco or someplace like that. And they're there for a whole month and they always go to the same grocery. If you always go to the same place, it might become cuánto te debo. Okay, yeah. Whether that's a formal or an informal depends on whether you see that person a lot weekly or not. Cuánto le debo. Okay. I can only have the le there because I've only got
One verb.
one verb.
One verb.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice there. Okay. Y por fin. We're telling him everything. Bien. Okay. So let's say it's not real time. Yeah. We need to use decir. Como se dice, we're telling.
Decimos.
Decimos, yeah, decimos. Although this is a stem changing verb, it puts an I in there. Digo, dices, dicen, sí, pero decimos. Okay, decimos. We're telling him.
Le.
Le decimos.
Le decimos todo.
Todo.
Le decimos todo. Le decimos todo. Okay. If you mean in real time, like it really is happening right now, okay, you could flip that to that ing, telling, Le estamos
Diciendo.
diciendo, it's an odd one, diciendo, it's like pidiendo, diciendo. Le estamos diciendo todo. Or estamos diciéndole todo. Es posible, that's possible. Okay, le decimos todo. Le estamos diciendo todo if it's really happening right now, right? Estamos diciéndole todo. You got two possibilities there. Okay. Bien. Bueno. ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any kind of question on that? No?
No.
Nada, nada?
No.
Okay.
No.
Bien. Okay. What I want you to be able to do next is to go into some smaller groups and talk about these. I had given you these as prompts. And so let's go into small groups to talk about these two pictures, just these two. I think you're only going to need about 5 minutes, right? But there are different possibilities you might use because we're talking about a photo, so there won't be any one single thing that's right or one single thing that's wrong. But I do want you to try to use the verb cobrar. Cobrar is to charge, okay? To charge a certain amount of money for a service or for an item. And cobrar es muy regular. That is a really regular verb. So it'll be cobro, cobras, cobra, cobramos, cobran, right? Pagar, regular. Pago, pagas, paga, pagamos, pagan. Regular, right? When we get to número 2, la segunda foto, dar, irregular solamente para yo. This one is irregular only for yo in present tense. Present tense, it becomes doy, like you had estoy or soy or boy. We have doy. But all the others, it'll be a regular AR type conjugation. Das, da, damos, dan, right? Ayudar, totalmente regular. Ayudo, ayudas, ayuda, ayudamos, ayudan. Bien? Okay. So we're going to want to talk about people charging, paying, giving, helping, that kind of thing. Those that are going to be what you will use. You will see the little pictures when you go into breakout rooms. Uy, un momentito. ¿Cuántas personas tenemos aquí? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ok. 13. Bueno, más o menos 6. We need about 6 rooms, I think. Creo. Sí, bien. We're going to have one group that'll be 3, but most of it'll be 2. When you hit the join button, after everybody joins in, I will be able to send the picture to your little breakout rooms. 5 minutos, I think 5 minutes is enough, see?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we'll come back and share what ideas you had, what worked and what didn't, where you had questions. Y eso es. Y voy a poner la foto en los cuadros. I'm going to put the picture in the rooms. Okay. A ver, y 5 minutos. Tengo que poner en mi reloj que vamos a trabajar 5 minutos en este ejercicio y después vamos a regresar aquí todos juntos para comparar ideas, para preguntar si hay preguntas. Y eso es todo. Gives everybody a little chance to work independently. They might be talking about the cashier is charging her, the cashier is charging them, the cashier just charged me. Maybe I'm looking at that picture and thinking back, right? And talk about maybe who is paying her. La otra foto es de un empleado de las aerolíneas, an airline employee, ¿sí? Bien. Está hablando con un hombre de negocios. She's talking with a businessman, ¿sí? Quizás él necesita información de su vuelo. Maybe he needs information about his flight. Quizás él necesita algo para comprar un billete, un boleto de avión. Maybe he needs help buying an airline ticket. Algo así. But we'll see what kind of ideas people come up with. In some ways, these little let words are kind of the hangnail of Spanish. It's always this dangling little word that's stuck in a place where in English, you would never put it there in English. And it's hard to get that out in a sentence, which is why we need the practice. Dos minutos más. Y todos están hablando. I can see everybody is talking right now. Todos están hablando. Everybody's talking. Bueno, casi un minuto. Just about 1 more minute. Y vale. Okay. Vale, bueno, vamos a cerrar los cuartitos. We're gonna close our little rooms here. Okay. Bien, aquí vienen algunos y
All right,
pronto-
I got a question for you.
Sí, dime.
With the two people at the ticket counter, if I wanted to say she is helping the man travel, would it's confusing because they're both third person people.
Oh,
Could I
sí.
say, ella le ayuda a el hombre, so it'd have two phrases?
No, you cannot have two phrases. That will totally mess up your listener. Okay.
Okay, would
The
I
a
say
phrase is only
ella?
reserved to define who you mean by who's receiving the action.
Okay,
For
So
who's
if I
doing
don't-
it, it'll be ella.
okay.
Boom, nada más.
So
Nothing
then I
else.
could say ella le ayuda.
Exacto.
Okay,
Ella le ayuda. Sí, ella le ayuda. Bien.
okay.
Okay. Vale. Eso es. That is a good, es buena pregunta. Yeah. The question was, can I use two phrases? One for the person doing the action and one for the person receiving, but we can't have two phrases. It's got to be one. Una frase. Yeah. So if you need an defining, clarifying phrase, it's only going to talk about who's on the receiving end, not who is on the doing end. Es buena pregunta. Ok. Ideas aquí. Vamos a hablar ahora de sus ejemplos. We're going to talk about your examples. Vamos a hablar de sus ideas. Vamos a hablar de sus preguntas. We're going to talk about your questions and your examples. Aquí, hablando de la primera foto, talking about this first photo, cobrar o pagar. Un ejemplo, an example. And I can't see you raising your hand because I got my share on.
Okay. La empleada les cobra por sus pedidos.
Okay. La empleada, the employee. And we might say la cajera. Aquí tenemos vocabulario nuevo. La cajera.
Cash
Cajera es
register?
cashier.
Oh, cashier.
La cajera. You can say that too, but empleada works just fine. I'm just giving you a different way we might say it. La empleada les cobra, ¿sí? ¿Vale? Les cobra por
Sus pedidos.
sí, okay, por whatever it is, lo que sea, sí, su comida, los comestibles, lo que sea, whatever it may be. Les cobra, but we need a cobra because there's one lady doing that, right? Checkout action, whether you call her la empleada or la cajera, no importa, doesn't matter, but cobra, it's got to be a cobra. Les cobra, if you're only talking about the first person in line, then it'll be not les, but
Le.
depende. You could have used a le cobra. Sí, le cobra a la mujer con la blusa morada with the purple shirt.
But if you say money, you have to have por. Cobra 20 euros.
Por is it is now indicating an exchange for. Les cobra por la comida. She's charging them for the food.
Okay.
Yeah. This one does need a for. Yeah. The pedir verb does not need the word for, but this one does need a for. Or you might just give an amount. So let me give you another way that might go. Let's say we only want to talk about the total on the total charge, the amount of money charged, right? Instead of saying she's charging her for the food, we might say le cobra 250 pesos. We might put in an amount. Yeah, that's another way that might go. Oh, she's charging here 250. Okay, vale, sí. Lógico, that's logical too. Okay, bueno, ¿hay otro ejemplo con cobrar o no?
¿Quién le pagar por todo?
For pagar, ¿quién va a pagar? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like, is that saying who is paying for it? ¿Quién
¿Quién?
le pagar?
¿Quién?
Por
¿Es
esto,
posible?
por todo? Por esto,
Sí,
por todo.
¿quién? Y tengo que. Ay. Un momentito. Ay.
Lo
¿Quién?
paga.
¿Quién le paga? ¿Quién le paga? Who is paying her? ¿Quién le paga?
Or por
A
esto.
la
por
cajera.
todo, la
O por todo.
Cajera.
Who is paying for everything. ¿Quién le paga por todo? Sí, eso es posible. Who is paying, and who is only one person, right? If I wanted to make that more than one person, like
Yes.
all those people in line, ¿quiénes le pagan por todo? Entonces, ¿quién? I might use either idea here. ¿Quién le paga? Who's paying her? If the who is only this many, yeah. But ¿quiénes le pagan por todo? Then it becomes pagan if you are talking about all those people lined up, yeah, as the who, right? We don't distinguish in English. We don't distinguish in English between who more than one or who only being one person, but they do in Spanish. So if the who means all those people in line, then it's quienes le pagan.
Okay, gracias.
Le pagan por todo. Sí, eso es. Ok, otro ejemplo con pagar.
I was going to say, los clientes les paguen por los comestibles.
Comestibles, sí. Los clientes, the customers. Necesito una cajita más larga, sí. Los clientes. And now there's only one person to pay though, right? In this picture.
Oh, okay.
So we need what little itty bitty pronoun?
Le
¿Quiénes le pagan? Los clientes le pagan. Sí, por los comestibles, sí. Eso. Bien. Los clientes le pagan. The customers are paying her. But that's got to be a le, because there's only one person taking the money there, right? I got a bunch of people lined up. So I might talk about all of them. Los clientes pagan, los clientes pagan, los clientes le pagan. Los clientes le pagan. Okay.
Can I say simply, puedo pagarle?
¿Puedo pagarle? Sí. Can I pay? Can I pay you? Sí.
Sí.
Sí se puede. Sí. Buena pregunta. Sí. Ok. Bien. ¿Otra pregunta o no? ¿Nada?
Nada.
Ok, bien. Entonces, quizás podemos hablar un poquito de la segunda foto. La segunda foto tiene una empleada de, no sé, de una agencia de viaje, de una aerolínea, an airline. Es probable una empleada o hay dos empleadas aquí. De las aerolíneas o de la aerolínea, de airline employee. Y tenemos un hombre. Y podemos usar dar, we can use dar, and we can use ayudar. Un ejemplo con dar.
El hombre le da su pasaporte a la agente.
Excelente. El hombre, sí, el hombre le da su pasaporte a la gente. Y aquí es la agente porque es obvio que es una mujer, ¿sí? El hombre le da su pasaporte a la agente, a la mujer, a la empleada, lo que sea. ¿Bien? ¿Sí? Whatever it may be. El hombre le da. He gives her. Bueno. ¿Otro ejemplo con dar o no?
Me doy el hombre, is it L or L or I can't say, but I want to say boletas, but it's masculine. isn't it?
Boleto, ticket.
Boleto. Oh, it's masculine. Okay.
Sí, boleto. But I can't use doy unless I'm talking about
Me.
yo.
So
Yeah.
I give the man a ticket.
I give the man the ticket. Okay. I give the man the ticket. Le doy
Mhm.
al hombre
El boleto.
su boleto.
Su boleto.
I give the man his ticket.
Let's check it.
Okay.
Le doy al hombre su boleto.
Su boleto.
Le doy.
I didn't know what to put there. Su
Le doy
boleto.
al hombre su boleto, su billete. You hear billete for ticket, you hear boleto for ticket. They're both understood.
Okay.
That's understood. They can both be used for a ticket. Boleto, billete. Sí. Okay. In Mexico, you may even hear, you may even hear tiquete, which is kind of Spanglish, but it's becoming a more common thing depending on what part of Mexico you're in. You might hear tiquete, but boleto, billete are more accepted in more different kinds of places. Okay. Le doy al hombre, if you're thinking about from my point of view. Bien. Okay. Ayudar.
¿Cómo puedo ayudarte?
Sí, how can I help you? ¿Cómo puedo? This is what the employee might say, right? ¿Cómo puedo ayudarte? She's probably more likely to use le to be super polite.
Right.
Yeah, in this setting,
Right.
to say, can I help you? It's much more likely she'll use that as a le.
Yeah, ayudar.
Right, to be super formal, because it is a more formal setting, you can tell from the picture. Or, se puede decir, ¿cómo le puedo
I don't know.
ayudar?
Ayudarte.
I think you're a little more likely to hear it as, ¿cómo le puedo ayudar? Because they really like putting that in front of that first verb, pero, ¿está bien?
Sí.
Las dos maneras de expresar la idea. ¿Cómo le puedo ayudar? ¿Sí? La mujer le ayuda al hombre.
Sí.
La mujer le ayuda al hombre de negocios. The businessman.
Ujú.
Así. ¿Bien? ¿Otra idea o hay otra pregunta? One thing to notice, with the reason we need this is what I'm charging is an amount of money, right? The money I'm charging is the direct object. The le tells who's receiving that fee. Now, there is a difference between a direct object and an indirect object. I'm charging an amount of money. That's the direct object, the thing I'm charging. That the end bill. I'm charging that to somebody. The reason we need, I'm paying for an item, or I'm paying money to somebody. And the reason we need this le is it's the to somebody. It's what we call the indirect object. Same thing here. I'm giving the passport. What am I giving? What is he giving in this case? He's giving the passport. The passport is the direct object. What did they get? What's he giving? What's he giving? If it answers the question, what's he giving? That's a direct object. But who is getting the passport? She is getting that. That's why we call that the indirect object. The indirect object receives or grabs or gets the direct object. There's a relationship there. Usually you're giving something, you're doing something to somebody. the to somebody, the me, te, nos, le, or les, that's a human being. But there may be an actual inanimate object involved, right?
Sí.
That human being is getting a thing. They're getting the direct object. The indirect object gets the direct object. And that's, yeah, that's why they've got a split there, okay? Okay, vale. Bien.
That video from the Spanish teacher, I forget his name, that was a good video about the direct and the indirect. And
And
he,
direct and,
yeah, he put the little chart up there and
yeah.
explained
See, it's a
the
problem.
Spanish
we-
tutor. I
Yeah,
think
the
he was
Spanish
called.
tutor. It's a problem because there's one category of words in Spanish that is for direct objects, right?
Yeah.
And one indirect. And that becomes very grammarese, like legalese. But sadly, we do have to keep those separate. Now, see, direct or indirect objects, it doesn't affect those words that are me, te, and nos. It does not affect me, te, and nos. Me, te, and nos are, they do double duty. They can be both direct and indirect. But once you get into that les business, yeah, there is a different set of pronouns that they use
Right.
for the direct objects. And that's why that is a thing. It's a thing, and it's a hard thing because we don't think about that in English. We don't think 1 second about it. I'm giving it to him.
Lelo?
You know? Oh, but you won't be able to do a lelo, but we'll talk about that another time. You can't lelo. You can't lelo. Something even more complicated is going to happen, so we won't touch that for now. But yeah, but it matters, right? Okay. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, a ver, vamos a hablar aquí. Ustedes van a practicar, you guys are going to practice with these two examples. We're going to use servir, el champán, and we are going to use either, I would like you to use either gustar or encantar. I don't care if you use gustar, which means like, or encantar, which means like, but it intensifies. And we in English would say, I love something, or geez, I really, really, really like that. Okay, that's encantar. It's just a magnification of bumping upstairs for that idea of gustar. And champán, you hear champaña and champán. And bien, 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 bien. Uy, ¿por qué tan chiquitito? Why did that go so itty bitty? Puedo corregir. I guess I cannot correct that because I've got it. Okay. And señalar means to point out. Señalar means point out. A señal is a sign. And señalar means somebody is doing that. They're sticking a finger pointing at it, okay, which is what this guy is doing, señalar. So he might be pointing out a building, he might be pointing out a store, he might be pointing out a funny looking guy in a weird outfit, I don't know, algo. Or decir la historia del sitio turístico, telling the story of the tourist site, right? So you'll get those two pictures into your little groups. Y quiero que ustedes hablen de estas situaciones. I'll send those pictures in after you hit your little join button. Y a ver, bueno, share screen, compartir la pantalla. Bien, allá. Ok. Otra vez. Voy a meter 5 minutos en el reloj para darles tiempo suficiente para hablar y practicar. Vale, vamos a ver. Voy a cerrar. Voy a cerrar los cuartos de conversación. Ok. Ok. Excelente. ¿Cómo les va? How did it go for you? Un poquito mejor, a little better.
It was a challenge.
It was a challenge. It is a challenge. Sí, es un reto. Es todo un reto. It's a real challenge. Es un reto. Así es. So it is. So it is. Okay. Speaking of a challenge, y hablando de un reto,
Every day's a challenge.
everything's a challenge. Todo es un reto. Everything's a challenge. Todo es un reto. Bueno, but what we want to prepare you for is it hard to plug this into something and say it and produce it? Yeah. But, you know, your goal should be, wow, when you hear somebody say it, you know what they mean, right? Hearing it and understanding it is an easier level, is really the first level up, right? Being able to produce that language and say your own idea is a harder step up. But if you can recognize what somebody means, but when they speak to you, that is the first and most important skill to have. So, you know, if that's the level where you feel like you feel a little more comfortable, es muy normal. It's really normal. Okay.
So can I ask a quick question?
Sí,
So,
claro.
okay, so Carrie's been great on kind of carrying me through this, but when we were talking about like rather than just saying the friends love champagne, she was adding the friends love to drink champagne. Now, does the to drink also get conjugated into like a
No, the to drink doesn't, because what the love is to drink.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. It's a group of them or the okay. Thank you. So we leave that as there.
That is a good question, and we will check that out. And that is exactly why we come back after our small session to work out all the kinks.
Yeah.
Of course there are kinks. Claro. Claro que hay dificultades. Claro que hay dificultades. Of course there are difficulties. Así es. So it is. Okay. Vamos a ver. ¿Qué podemos decir? Servir. What can you servir?
Serving.
Serving, yeah. Who's serving in that picture?
El hombre.
El hombre, el novio. Ooh, it's the groom. El novio. El novio. Let's build an idea with the groom is serving.
Les.
Sirve.
Sirve. El hombre le sirve
Champagne.
el champán. El champán. You can use champaña too if they're the same. Some people use champán, some people use champaña. El novio le sirve el champán. Sí, bien. Vino, champán, no importa. Ok. Le sirve a todos. A todos. To everybody. ¿Sí?
A sus invitados.
Me gusta mucho. A sus invitados. Sus invitados, his invited ones. But instead of saying invited ones, we would say yes. Yeah, sí, claro. A sus invitados. Bien. A sus amigos.
A la novia. A la novia.
A la novia. If who he is serving is la novia, then we have to change that les into
Te.
le. Bien.
A su
Sí.
novia.
Le
Oh,
sirve el champán a su novia. Entonces es le.
le. Mhm.
Depende. Depends on who we're talking about. Sí, depende.
Mhm.
All those ideas are correct
Mhm.
per the, you know, what you see in the picture, right? We want that just to prompt ideas. Okay, vale. Gustar o encantar. Bueno, CJ, otra vez, tu idea.
¿Quién le gusta la champaña?
We could.
Would you say a quién or quién?
A
Yes,
quién.
a quién.
¿A
thought so.
quién le
Le
gusta
gusta.
el champán?
Yeah. Who
La
likes?
champaña, ¿sí? ¿A quién le gusta? But if we're talking about the whole group, like, oh, you turn to everybody, right? You turn to everybody and you see a bunch of people, then it would have to be ¿a quiénes
¿Quiénes? Okay.
les gusta?
Okay.
¿A quiénes les gusta? Who likes this?
Okay.
¿Sí? Bien. Yeah, and if you turn and look at a bunch of faces, ¿a quiénes les gusta? Sí, perfecto. Okay, but we have this very, very good question. And what the question was, what if we want to say the friends like to drink champagne, right? They like to drink.
Mhm.
They like to drink. Les gusta
Mhm.
beber. Les gusta beber el champán. O la champaña, ¿sí? Les gusta beber. They like to drink, but the beber has to say beber.
Beber.
Yeah. So we can use gusta to talk about liking one thing. La champaña o el champán. Gusta, one thing, right? Gusta is for one thing. Gusta is also for actions. Les gusta beber. ¿Sí? Les gusta tomar. Igual, you can use tomar to talk about drinking too. Les gusta beber, les gusta tomar. Igual. But we use gusta with actions. We use it to talk about one thing. We use gusta to also talk about actions. But that action is always left as the infinitive.
Pregunta, if we wanted to say, in our breakout, we were trying to decide about using gusta or gustan, but in this example you're in right now, suppose we said they like to drink champagne and beer, champagne y cerveza. Would that be less gustan? Because
No,
it's more than one thing that they like?
Gusta.
Gusta.
Solamente porque beber, drinking.
Okay.
See? Okay, so
What if instead of gusta beber, it was just they like champagne and beer?
les gusta beber el champán y la cerveza.
When do you use gustan?
When do you use?
Gustan.
Gustan. Okay. Voy a darles, I'm going to give you guys, voy a darles un ejemplo. I'm going to give you an example of when we might tweak this. Okay, ¿vale? Les gusta beber el champán y la cerveza. They like drinking champagne and beer. Okay. The focus is on beber, the action. So it stays gusta. Now, if you want to say, instead of if you want to take the focus off that action of beber, and you want to name two things that they like. Okay, if the focus is off the beber, 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 tomar, tomar, tomar. If the focus is 2 items, then I have to change it to gustan. Les gustan el champán y la cerveza. And why is that? It's because gustar or encantar, same diff, same diff. Encantar, exact same thing. Gustar really means to be pleasing. Encantar really means to delight, to be delightful. And so what you're really saying is alcoholic drinks, all of these, they're pleasing to somebody. Now, we don't say that idea in English. You could say beer and champagne are very pleasing to them, and people would give you very funny looks because nobody says that in English. But they literally don't have a verb like. They have a word like, he is like his dad. They have that kind of word like, which is como, a different word altogether, right? But the verb to like doesn't exist in Spanish. They only have to be pleasing or to be delightful. And so, yeah, so really you're talking about that thing being pleasing to somebody. And therefore, if more than one thing, beer and champagne, if they are pleasing to somebody, then we have to shift that verb from gusta into gustan. Does that answer your question, Marcos?
Yes, that's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, if I've got a verb there, if I've got a verb, beber, the focus is on beber, and it will be gusta. Boom, that's it. Yeah. Or if I have one thing, it'll be gusta. Boom, that's it. But if I plug in everything else, oh, por ejemplo, or for example, let's say that you're serving a bunch of little hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. You know, the little guys who walk around at a wedding party and they got the little trays. Yeah. And they got hors d'oeuvres. And on the hors d'oeuvre, you know, you got like 12, 20 hors d'oeuvres on a little serving dish, on a little tray, right? And let's say, okay, los platillos, the little dishes, right? They're serving little dishes to everybody. Les gustan los platillos. They like, ooh, they like those little dishes. Yeah. Las botanas, the munchy things, las botanas, yeah, orders. Les gustan las botanas. Les gustan las tapas. Yeah, les gustan las tapas. Well, that's a plural thing, and that's got to be les gustan las tapas, because the focus is on all those little separate things on the serving tray, right? But if the focus becomes they like to eat those little things, then we got to flip it back to gusta. Les gusta comer las tapas, because even though I've got las tapas, the focus is now shifted to comer, 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 the activity of eating. And if I plug in an infinitive there, les gusta comer las tapas, it becomes les gusta. They like. Yeah?
And Marilyn, did you say that was the same for encanta and encantan?
Encantar, sí.
Okay.
Les encanta, sí, because encantar is a verb like gustar. Encantar. So les encanta comer las tapas. But les encantan las tapas. Les encantan las tapas. Okay. Yeah. And I think next week we'll talk a little bit about some of those typical verbs that do that kind of stuff, because sadly they are very common. Okay, vamos a ver. Let's take a quick look at the last one here. We got the señalar, señalar, the pointing out. Yeah. Por ejemplo, con el hombre.
El hombre está.
Okay, it was at Diana I heard.
See, oh,
Okay.
I was
El
hearing,
hombre,
I was hearing a replay.
Yeah.
El hombre está señalándoles a la dirección.
bien. Está señalándoles, un acento. Está señalándoles, and wow, he is doing it in real time as you see it. Sí, el hombre está señalándoles ¿cuál
You need
es?
to get rid of the in there, está.
Está.
Oh, está, perdón.
Sí.
Gracias. Está señalándoles.
La dirección, or do you have to say a la dirección?
No, la dirección. La dirección, the address. La dirección, or the direction. Yeah, see, eso es. Yeah, that's not a human being, so we don't have an a. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Bueno, and that can, or el hombre les está señalando la dirección, and I could just put el hombre, puedo decir el hombre le señala el edificio, o les señala la plaza, ¿sí? Les señala
Iglesia.
sí,
Iglesia.
sí, un lugar. We're talking about a place or a thing, right? Sí, sí, el letrero. El letrero would be a sign where something is printed, right? He could be pointing to any of those things. Vale. Bueno, pero decir la historia, telling a story about the tourist site, to change that around. El hombre.
Les.
Dice.
Dice.
Les.
Dice. Yeah.
La historia. La historia del sitio turístico a sus amigos, al grupo de viajeros, group of travelers, a sus amigos, depende, ¿sí? El hombre les dice, he tells them, les dice. Les está diciendo, he is telling them in real time, because probably he is right there. ¿Sí? Es así, es posible. Ok, vale. Bueno, ¿alguna pregunta? Any question?
Okay.
I have a question, Marilyn. Could you say, dice les la direcciones?
Díceles. Can we say that? No, no se puede. No se puede.
So it's
no
not
se
like
puede.
dígame? It's not like dígame?
No, qué
No.
buena pregunta. What a good question you have. And this is a good place for us to end up. I cannot say díceles. Tells them. No.
No.
I could say, you have a guide in front of you. Yeah, the guide is there. And you could say, I used to do this a lot, actually, if I had a student group, yeah, traveling, bunch of teenagers. And I would say, dígales la importancia de este catedral. Tell them the importance of this cathedral.
Okay.
Dígales, but dígales, yes, then I can tag it on. Dígales, I can tag it on the end, and I must tag it on the end.
Oh, okay.
Not only I can, I must. But dígales is a command.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling somebody, hey, do it.
Okay.
When you're talking about these photos, you're just saying, oh, they're doing that. You're talking about, it's just a fact.
Could you say, even if you said por favor at the end?
Por favor. Por favor, I'm
Be a
just
little
being-
nicer.
I'm just being nice with por favor, yeah? Dígales, por favor, dígales, por favor, la importancia de este catedral. Tell them, see? Yeah, the por favor does not affect whether I need a les on there, but dígales. Dígales is a command.
Okay.
It's a command.
Okay.
Commands that
Gracias.
are go do it commands.
Oh.
I do have to tag it on.
Okay.
Huh? I do
Gracias.
have to tag it on. I see it. No, I know all these picky little things, right? If you're telling somebody go do it, that's not the same thing in Spanish as saying, oh, look what they're doing. I'm talking about an actual fact of what is going on. This is happening right now. I'm telling you what is actually going on, but that's different than a command. A command is an order, and there they use a different set of verbs, which is why it becomes diga.
Okay.
Diga is a command. And okay. I think maybe next week we're going to talk about some of these special kind of verbs that are like gustar, that are like encantar, because there's a whole category of them. And what are they called? They're verbs that are like gustar. Wow, that's very unscientific, but they're verbs that function like gustar. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find a video that will talk about that, although I want it to be on kind of a simple level. So basically, it boils down to this. These are verbs that you actually do hear quite a lot, and they become verbs like, oh, that's interesting for him, to him. Oh, this is really important to him. You know, there are certain verbs that fall in these categories. And I'll find the video that'll tell you that there are a bunch. It's impossible for me to say, oh, it'll be just these words. And if you know these like 5 words, it won't be anything else. Well, no, it's not quite that easy, but there are a lot that are super, super common. And I'll give you a little lesson on that. And then I'm going to give you actually a little video, just a storytelling video that won't be any particular grammar at all. But you may want to listen for some of these little things we've been talking about this week, because you'll probably hear that thrown out here and there. See, todo bien? All good?
Okay. Todo bien.
Okay, bien. And I'll probably give you a few little prompts, but these will be verbs like gustar. So in other words, the verb will only go into one of 2 forms. Gusta, gustan. Encanta, encantan. O, por ejemplo, importar, to be important. Importar, importan. Yeah. So if you want to say, I don't care if it's a vegan restaurant or not. I don't care if it's a vegetarian restaurant or not. You might want to use importar, but you want to tell who it matters to, right? No me importa si el restaurante sirve comida vegetariana o no. No me importa. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah?
Sí.
Meaning you're saying, really, you're literally saying, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, yeah. So we'll take a look at some things that are like that because they're kind of common. And I think we'll also start to work at a little bit of, you know, what happens when it's not an indirect object, but a direct object to talk about a thing. Yeah, because that is going to come up too. Okay, ¿todo bien? All good?
Todo bien.
Yes.
Todo bien. Excelente, muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Y espero que tengan buena semana.